What is my number again? Right, this is definitely it. One more try. Oh no, it swallowed my card.
It's pretty common. According to a recent survey, around a quarter of us can't remember our PIN number. And when I say PIN number, nowadays you're supposed to have multiple PIN numbers, aren't you? You're not supposed to have the same PIN for different cards. And then, of course, you've got all the passwords for all the different things that you're signed up to online. So we do definitely need a little bit of help. Who better than 5 times world memory champion Elaine Collier? Good morning to you, Elaine.
Good morning, Kaye.
Good morning. How'd you get a title like that?
Well, I'm actually the 5 times world mind mapping champion, which is a subsection of the memory discipline. But there's a competition every year. About 20 countries come together over 3 days, 10 memory disciplines, in order to crown the new world memory champion.
Right, and you've won it 5 times?
Well, I've won the mind mapping component of that.
Okay.
Yep. But last year, it was a 14-year-old Chinese girl that came out to be the world mind mapping champion, and the year before that, a 16-year-old Mongolian girl. So it's definitely a discipline that girls are on the rise in.
Oh, but it also sounds as if it favours the young.
Well, there's also a senior category. So there's a guy called Dominic O'Brien, who was actually an 8 times world memory champion of the whole thing, who's come back at the age of 60 to compete in the senior category, and he's just been acing it. So it seems the more you use it, the more you can use it.
Oh yeah, use it or lose it. So in terms of, before you get on to helping we mere mortals to remember all the things that we need to remember, when you're talking about at that elite level, I suppose you say, I mean, what is the most awesome kind of demonstration of memory that you have witnessed?
Oh, wow. Well, if you're talking about numbers, the world record for the longest number remembered in an hour is 3,260 digits.
Right.
That's a long telephone number.
Wow. Well, and somebody just, they've spent whatever time and technique in memorising it, and then they're put on the spot, and they have to just recite that
3,260 digits. Yeah.
I've forgotten how many digits, but far less the digits. Wow. So how many can you remember?
As many as you want to remember. I'm not competing kind of at that level now. I'm the senior arbiter, so I'm the one checking if anybody's cheating. But the strategy is very, very simple. In fact, the strategy that we're going to teach you for the PIN numbers, or that we teach 6 and 7-year-olds in primary school, is exactly the same system that the guys use for setting the world records.
Right, okay. All right then. So most people's PIN number, and I've just had a wee text in from Sheila, just to correct me. Please enlighten Kaye Adams that PIN stands for personal identity number. Therefore, you refer to it as one's PIN, not PIN number, as that is saying personal identity number. I stand corrected. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you. So how do we remember our PIN, given that they usually have between 4 and 6 digits, and also that the advice is now that you must have a separate PIN for every kind of various card or whatever else you have?
Well, certainly that's a good idea for security, but to do that, basically you need a strategy. And we know that numbers are abstract, and we know that memories, very simply, memories are pictures that you've got in your head. In fact, long-term memories are just pictures that you've got in your head that are really, really familiar. So the strategy we need to do is to take something abstract, the number, and turn it into something concrete, the picture, so that it's instantly memorable. So, for instance, if you wanted to remember your PIN number for a Clydesdale account, the first thing is Clydesdale is very obviously a horse, so it's easy to remember that. Say the PIN number is, let me make up something completely random, 3862. Now, think back to when we were at primary school, when we used to do all the skipping games and everything. We had something that was called a number rhyme, which was 1 bun, 2 shoe, 3 tree, 4 door, 5 hive, 6 sticks, 7 heaven, 8 gate, 9 vine, and 10 hen. All of those numbers now have a corresponding image in your head. And by linking these images together into something like a short story or a funny setup, you can make it instantly memorable. So my number was 3862. So my images I'm going to remember are a tree, because we're heading up for Christmas. I'm going to make it a Christmas tree. Leaning against a gate, I'm going to have a great big glittery gate like the doors into Graceland. Number 6, sticks. So the gate is going to dissolve into a pile of kindling or a pile of sticks for me. And out of the middle of this pile of sticks, I'm going to take a crystal slipper, a Cinderella slipper, a shoe. So my pin number for the Clydesdale is a Clydesdale horse galloping towards this Christmas tree that's falling onto the gate. The gate disintegrates into a pile of sticks, and out of the middle of the sticks, a pile of shoe. And that gives me Clydesdale horse for the Clydesdale Bank, 3862 for the pin.
Right, so you tell yourself that story then, do you, of the horse galloping towards the tree and the gate and the sticks and the shoe, and you sort of repeat that a number of times and it sticks, does it?
Yeah, in fact, we know so much more now about how to create long-term memories. We know that the ideal time to review, if you were studying something really, really large, is within 10 minutes. Within a day, a week, a month, and within 3 months of learning something new. But the reality is that every time you go to the pin, you go to the bank and put your pin number in, if you tell yourself the little story, every time you do that, it reinforces the memory for you. Now, remember, stories are how we first begin to learn and first begin to create memories. That's why we tell stories to kids, why we read them books, why we give them fairy stories. So giving things in a sequence are really, really, really powerful for creating memories. And that's what the world's greatest mnemonists do. They just have really long stories that they tell themselves.
Well, yeah, because if you're talking about, some of the world records there, remembering numbers that are more than 3,000 digits long, that's a heck of a story. You could write a book.
What they do is they cluster the numbers together into either 4s, or we've got some mental athletes that are clustering them together into 6s. So each 6-digit number is a particular image. And then they use very long journeys. In fact, Dominic O'Brien, the 8 times world memory champion, uses a route going around all the golf courses that he plays all around the world. And he will hang these different images on different places going around these well-known golf courses that he plays, because it's very, very familiar to him. So he's able to create these very, very, very long stories. The biggest story, if you like, that I've ever seen created was actually somebody who memorised pi to 40,000 digits. And at any point, we could ask him any 6 digits within pi, and he could give us the 6 digits before and the 6 digits afterwards, which is a truly remarkable feat of memory. So a 4-digit PIN number should be relatively easy for us all to get if we remember that we need to convert abstract, the number, into something concrete, which is a picture, and create a funny little story around the numbers.
And is that a gift? That, I mean, again, when you're talking about the elite level, not remembering your PIN number. Oh, sorry, Sheila. PIN.
The PIN.
Sorry, to apologise, Sheila. When you're talking about the elite level, is that a gift that these people have, or do you believe that it is something that anyone could learn?
Well, in the last 28 years, because this is the 28th year that we're going to be running this World Championship, we've gone and we've talked to every world champion after the event to find out if there's anything truly special about them. And much as I love my athletes, I have to tell you, these are fairly ordinary people that have just decided to learn a skill set that makes them really quite extraordinary. For instance, we've had firemen. The gentleman who did the Pi Matrix record, he was a fireman from Halifax. Just decided one day, he'd seen it on telly, he was going to learn how to do it. Dominic O'Brien saw a guy, Creighton Carvello, on TV memorising a deck of cards and thought, wouldn't that be a really cool thing to impress his friends and family? And that started him off on the journey of learning how to use his memory and how to develop it. So I have to say, although these young kids are really, really into setting the world records, and we've got the Guinness World Records that we run, most of them are fairly ordinary and remarkably well-adjusted kids. They're not the nerds or the kids from the back of the physics class that you would expect.
And is it... To develop your memory to that degree, is it more than just a party trick? I mean, does it have other benefits?
It does, because the more you use any muscle, so if you're into running, jogging around the block to get fit, you may progress on to running a 5K at a park run at the weekend. And if you're really, really into it, you may even go and set yourself the challenge of running a marathon. So anybody who runs round the block can class themselves as a runner. Most of us will never hit the Olympics as a world record marathon runner. But it's all about getting the training in, getting concrete strategies in place, and having a lot of fun when you do it, because when your brain is having fun learning something, it is so much easier to do.
Mm-hmm. Just one more question before I let you go, Elaine. And I totally get what you're saying about, making the abstract kind of real through visual images, etc., etc. But I mean, there's lots of people who just remember random numbers. We were talking about this morning, and they haven't attached any visual image to it. They haven't made any great effort to do it. But for some reason, their granny's phone number from 25 years ago, or we've actually done it on the show before. A lot of guys will phone in with what was their national service number, and just a number just lodges in some people's brains for what reason, I don't know.
Well, a lot of the time it's about how important this number is going to be to you. So your granny's telephone number, certainly when we were kids, would have been very, very important because we didn't have mobile phones. We had to remember the number in order to physically dial it. And it's the same with your national insurance number or your army number. That's something that you would have been required to repeat from memory. So it was very important that you knew it. So people were very motivated to pay attention and to learn the number by whatever means, whether that was rote or by practicing or listening to yourself repeat it several times. But because it was an important number, you paid more attention. One of the challenges we've got now is there's so many pins that we need to remember.
Things. Oh my goodness. And the thing that freaks me out is that now with my, same as everybody's computer, I guess, it suggests one to you that is, a strong password, and it's full of letters, numbers and different symbols. And so I'm now in the situation that my computer knows stuff that I don't know because I'm never going to remember it, but my computer knows it, which is not a good position to be in. Listen, Elaine, we've taken a lot of your time. Thank you very, very much indeed. That's Elaine Collier, who's the Vice President of the Tony Buzan Group, and she trains people worldwide in mind mapping and memory. If you have a number that just for some reason has lodged in your brain from many, many years ago, what is it? Is it, I don't know, well, national service was one, your granny's phone number, your COPE number, your COPE number, lots of people have. Let us know what it is. I know the text number, of course. It is, I'm only joking, 80295.